Okay, students, this is Mr. Martyr. I'm coming to you with your flip classroom on the Northern Renaissance. In your Cornell note guide, you should be up to this point in your notes. We left off talking about Leonardo da Vinci, his jobs, and his major works of art. 2 weeks ago, we did the works of art for the Italian Renaissance and the Northern Renaissance in our art gallery, so you should have that done. And in this video, we're going to complete the Northern Renaissance. And in your next video, I'm going to give you an overview of how the printing press shaped the culture of Europe. So let's take a look. The Northern Renaissance. When we talk about the Northern Renaissance, we're referring to the countries of England. We're referring to the countries that will become Germany. We'll be referring to the Dutch. We'll be referring to the Netherlands, and sometimes France. It's important to understand that there is a difference between the Italian Renaissance, which is Florence, Milan, the works of Michelangelo and Leonardo. There's a difference between their Renaissance, the Italian Renaissance, and the Northern Renaissance. The art is a little bit different, and the charges against the church are going to be a little bit more different. The Northern Renaissance begins about 100 years after the Italian Renaissance, and the reason for that is because it's slower to recover from the Black Death. Economic prosperity comes to this area quite a bit later, but it does expand and grow the middle class. And notable achievements and points of interest of the Northern Renaissance is the development of the printing press, the expansion of the middle class, the Bible being printed and more easily acceptable to people, and the idea of religious warfare, which is going to come towards the end of our chapter on the Renaissance. The painting to the left of the screen is by the artist Albrecht Dürer. He was a German painter known as the German Leonardo. And in this painting, it's a self-portrait. He paints him to look very much like Jesus Christ. This painting was on your art exam. Those of you guys that correct Dürer were correct. Additionally, if you want a little trick or tool, you can always look. Albrecht Dürer, because his initials were AD, he always dated his paintings and then sign them with the A and the D. As you guys can see, A and the lowercase d. Dürer is called the German Leonardo because he used certain techniques, such as oil-based paints, that made his work look much more realistic. In this painting, the painting of the hare on the left or on the right side of your screen, the painting looks almost like it could be a picture. The painting uses the oil-based lights and shadows to make it look more realistic. And in 1502 AD, again, Albrecht Dürer signs the piece with the A and the D underneath. So it's always a good giveaway if ever there's a test or an essay or you're on a date to a art gallery and you're looking at this and you want to impress your date, you can always say, ah, that's a Dürer. And you don't have to tell people how you know that. Another famous Renaissance artist was Jan van Eyck, or Jean van Eyck. They were brothers, and they were Dutch painters. And this is probably one of my favorite Renaissance pieces. This is called the Arrowfini Betrothal, or it's called the Arrowfini Portrait. What's amazing about this is Van Eyck paints this common middle-class family holding their hands. They're a young couple. A betrothal is a promise that a young couple makes to themselves before they wed. So, again, not that you guys would know this, but a lot of you guys thought that, oh, well, this is, they're married or they're wed or she's pregnant. Well, in fact, it's a young couple and she is, in fact, not pregnant. Art historians all agree that Van Eyck painted her to make her look more like Mary, more Christ-like, if you will, by kind of extending her stomach. So we don't believe she is pregnant. Additionally, in the painting, those of you guys that saw this during the art gallery, are these clementines or oranges on the shelf. Now, how do these oranges arrive here? Well, oranges, as we know, citrus fruits grow in warm, somewhat tropical conditions, you might say. They grow in areas like Italy. In fact, they do grow in Italy. And this is Van Eyck's kind of tribute to the Italian Renaissance, saying that everything he developed and learned, he got from the Italian painters. So it's a nice little, very subtle hit. And again, when you're looking at this artwork, you really need to look very, very closely. And if we examine it even closer, some of you guys saw this a couple weeks ago, The focal point is this mirror in the background. And in this background, Van Eyck paints the same scene twice. He paints it once from the front, so you're seeing what the artist is seeing, but you're also seeing what the artist isn't seeing. You're seeing this background. And you have the woman, you have the man, and you have a very tiny Van Eyck and his assistant. But you have the entire scene. You get to see what the entire room is like in two different perspectives. Additionally, around this mirror are the stations of the cross, showing that they are a very religious, very holy family. And again, the amount of detail and hidden stories behind this really is quite remarkable. Okay. Another famous Renaissance or Northern Renaissance piece is The Dead Christ by Magenta. Again, the focal point, it's not so much that it's glorifying religion, but the focal point that we saw in class is that it's the feet of Christ. Okay, and in particular, it's the holes that are in his feet from crucifixion. You know, you wouldn't really think of the feet as being a major part of Renaissance art. You wouldn't really associate it with a great part of the body. But here, you know, the feet are very dirty, very rough. But here they are the focal point. They're almost coming out of the canvas. It's almost like you could reach out and just kiss the foot of Christ, if you will, as he's laying there dead. Okay. In our next video, I'm going to go over this slide a little bit more. I'm going to talk about the impact of the printing press and everything that comes along with increased literacy. But that's going to be for the next video. But I do want you to understand that the Northern Renaissance is home to the printing press, and the printing press is a huge innovation of the Northern Renaissance. So if I went too fast, please watch the video again, but make sure you have this area of your notes complete, entitled The Northern Renaissance. And in the next video, we'll get into the printing press. All right. Any questions, please post them on Edmodo.